Hello, hi there. Welcome to another episode of 21 Minutes with KKB. My name is Kwabna Chenchen. I'm very happy today bringing to you this very episode because I'm hosting the first female on the show. I return in a jiffy to introduce my next guest for the show. Stay with us. My guest for today's edition of 21 Minutes with KKB is somebody who has done a lot for Mother Ghana. Well, she has served in various portfolios in governance. She's been Minister for Education, Attorney General, she's served as a State Attorney. She's done a whole lot. Well, today I'm happy that she's agreed to be our guest on the show. Madam Betty Mould-Iddrisu, good morning. And
morning, Governor.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be the first woman on the show.
I actually didn't know I was the first woman on the show. That might have given me a reservation or two.
But how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you very much. As you know, we are in mourning this week. It's been a very tragic and turbulent week for the nation as a whole. And let me take this opportunity to express my personal commiserations to the family of the late Pakwesi Emisarthur. Fine gentleman and a politician par excellence, a rare breed, a rare gem. You don't see many of that kind in Africa.
That's true.
And he was a personal friend. He and his wife were personal friends for over 30 years. Oh. So it's a real loss to myself and my husband.
Yeah, you're still mourning him, I can see.
Yes.
What people don't know is that we had to cancel this interview. We had to postpone it to today because actually the very day we decided to have this interview was when that very, very unfortunate incident happened. So I had to go out to the family. And the day before Mr. Emisarthur died, we had news of the removal of the EC chair and her two deputies, as Madam Charlotte was saying, her two deputies, that the president had fired them or sacked them, of course, for a number of reasons. We all know the history behind this and the like. But I see you as a very strong woman, someone who has gone through the mill and has risen to this level. And I do read and hear a lot about how there isn't enough female inclusion or feminine inclusion in a lot of the governance process. So for many, that was a big blow, seeing the EC chair just yanked off her post. Of course, if the presidency has given reasons why she was removed, but how do you see that? How do you take that?
Number one, I see it as a complete assault on the pillars of democracy in Ghana. I see, secondly, that the process was not given the constitutionality that it deserved to be given. Number three, I believe the process of the removal of Charlotte Osei and her two deputies should be challenged. Fourthly, I believe that as Ghanaians, we should definitely not sit by unconcerned when this happens. I am a lawyer, and there are so many ways to challenge what has gone on. In the spirit of trying to have the Constitution properly interpreted.
But what was their own constitutionality here? Per the communication?
Well, I'm not going to go into the legal...
Okay. But you think the presidency erred in how it went about this whole thing?
I believe that all of us erred in how we went about it, all the institutions that were responsible.
How so?
I said I'm not going to go into the legalities of it because I believe that these are going to be challenged in court, and I don't want to engage. I'm not one of those that engage in this discourse about issues that are pending in the courts, more so the Supreme Court. I see that there's already been a petition there. But there are several issues about the interpretation of Article 146 that as lawyers have us worried. So it's constitutionality, and also it is difficult for any country, however fledgling your democracy, to remove the head of a democratic process, especially the heads of which oversaw a peaceful transition and a peaceful handing over from one political party or dispensation to another. And I think we saw a very competent process being handled at that time. That's what I have to say about that. I would also like to say a word about women in women being empowered, about gender exclusion and inclusion. And I want to say that, look, we've come a very long way from my time when I started out as an assistant state attorney. And I think Ghana has made the progress that one would have expected, given our cultural and traditional environments over the last 40 years. One would also say that we wish we would have seen things expedited much more rapidly. Personally, I wish to have seen a woman vice president or a woman president in my lifetime.
But that could be you.
Well, it could have been. You know, yes, I was privileged to have been the first woman Attorney General and Minister of Justice. And I've had two wonderful successors. Yeah. It's a rare delight and an honor for me. But being a woman, wherever you are in the world, I think is a challenge. I remember some years ago watching the assassination of Benazir Bhutto and wondering, is it because she dared to dream of being a president? Is it because she became president? Indira Gandhi, all these famous, monumental women, the defeat of Hillary Clinton. I wept that night as more than I wept when we were defeated.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did. Because for me, I'm a gender person. I'm totally engendered. And I know Hillary personally, and I'd been following this fight of hers to climb to the top for all the years since she was the First Lady of America. It's really shows that even in the most advanced democracies, we can see that women's rights, women's place in society is still not as it should be. And whilst I applaud the strides that we have made in Ghana, in governance, still we should look at women being endangered. I will say this here, that it is not enough to look at a woman and see that, or believe, let it flash through your mind, that she must have got where she did by virtue of sexual favors, or by virtue of being married to somebody, by virtue of being a woman, and not by virtue of her competency. Until we're able to erase that from our psyche and thinking, you know, I'm happy to see this generation is gradually coming to that.
I'm happy you spoke about Hillary Clinton and the fact that you said you wept when she lost?
I did.
Oh, I suppose you also weep should you lose in becoming chairman of your party, the National Democratic Congress.
Oh, I don't weep easily.
No,
so
she may.
I'm sure she would love to see a woman as head of a major political party.
Is that what you want to do? You want to lead the NDC?
Oh, I think I have the capacity to lead the NDC. And one is listening to calls on me and maybe other women to also look at leading our political party.
So are you going on record today, this day, on 21 Minutes with KKB, to say that you are indeed contesting for that very position of party chairman of the NDC?
We have not opened the contest for party chairman. All I can say is that I have had calls on me to come, and I listened to those calls when in 2014. And the calls were from the women, from the youth, from our organizers.
I've heard some men also.
Oh, that's good. That's great. And I of course, and I want to say today that I don't want to muddy the waters of the political scene in the NDC.
But you have intentions of contesting?
No, I'm saying that I'm listening to the calls from people who I didn't even know knew that I existed, and NDC, we pride ourselves on being a party built at the branch level. So I took a very keen interest in the branch elections. We've just finished our constituency elections and we are now going to regional elections before we'll open up for national elections. So there's at least a month or two to go for me to substantively make up my mind. I'm consulting, they are coming to me. I'm also seeing what's the appetite is out there.
Some say is a step for you, and that's the long-term vision is to become vice president or president of the republic. Is that the case?
I think that my age would defeat that.
How so? We have a 73-year-old president.
I know.
Yes.
This is why I'm saying I think my age would defeat that. My husband tells me never say no to anything like this. So whilst I would not say no emphatically, I would beg that age at a certain point in one's life, you have to look at your age. The youth are out there. You're doing marvelously well. And really, I think it's the time for the youth. When I look at what's happening in Europe, it's true. America has a 71-year-old president. But look at the Macrons of the world and, the others who have come up. It's just amazing. So let's see.
So you think we need a younger leader? Maybe we've had enough of the older folk?
Well, I believe that young people have so much to offer us. And our tradition here again, maybe stands in our way because we are taught to venerate our seniors. So we're looking at all the possibilities.
So John Mahama will likely do a better job than Akufo-Addo is doing currently?
That goes without saying.
So then you may agree with a number of people who say the NDC government, the Eswal government, led by John Dramani Mahama, did a far better job than what's Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the NPP are currently doing.
Why do you think I would say otherwise? I was part of that politics. I was at the helm of the party. I was not a minister during John Mahama's last 4 years, but I served with him when he was vice president. And I know what our party is capable. I know the social democratic philosophy that runs through our party and that drives us. And I know that we are better for the people of Ghana.
But there were a lot of criticisms as to particularly the style of leadership, and that's things were taken for granted. Corruption was so rife. There was a tag, incompetence, all over the place. And you don't think that may likely play out again? Should, say, that the same crop come up again in 2020 to contest the elections?
Has that tag changed?
The incompetence tag of the NDC?
With this government. I'm saying that, have the tags changed?
So you're saying the MPP is equally incompetent?
Exactly.
So you are both incompetent. You should move for some
I have already affirmed and reaffirmed my faith in my party and its social democratic principles. Of course, there were errors. As leaders, we have to accept those errors. Therefore, we put together the Kwesi Botchwey Committee and we looked at the recommendations very, very closely. And let me assure you that we are implementing those recommendations to the letter.
The unity walk, was it part of the recommendations?
I believe that there was a call in the Kwesi Botchwey report for an inclusive spirit of reconciliation and in order to unify our party members. So insofar as it went to that, and you are not tagging the unity walk with other people's misapprehensions, I think the unity walk was a great idea.
A number of party executives or flag bearer hopefuls whom I have spoken to have suggested that thing, the unity walk, is actually doing more damage to the party.
That is manifestly and patently untrue. And we met with the presidential hopefuls, aspirants, I don't quite know how to call them because we have not opened anything yet. John Dramani Mahama was the immediate or is the immediate past president of Ghana. He also is and was, he also was the leader of our party. He is in a class of his own. And therefore, if he is called, and he alone is called, and our general secretary and our chairman of the party are called to speak at any function, no one can deny him that position, or that is the proper
But do you think
etiquette.
that's fair? Because there are other people who are willing and ready to lead the party.
We didn't create, or the people who organize the regions that organize the unity walks.
They say it's because he's the one with the money.
I don't think that they created that. I don't think that they organized those walks in order to give John Mahama an edge over other flag bearer aspirants or hopefuls. I find that argument rather petty, and I would like to move away from that.
Okay, that's fine. But you served as Attorney General, you served as Education Minister. At a point that you resigned as Education Minister.
Yes.
Why?
Well, I think you are well aware that there was a mesh of sagas engulfing some of my actions when I was Attorney General. And it made it untenable for me to continue.
Were you asked to resign?
Oh no, it was, I won't say no, I won't say yes. It was an agreement between
So in the interest
myself.
of the party, you were asked to step aside so that...
I haven't said that, and I resent words being put into my mouth. I said that, Squabner, if you heard me.
I did.
I said that it was agreed that I should step aside.
Between yourself and...
To enable me to see the way forward in clearing up some of the saga. So, and I think I did that.
Yes, you did. You did. So you're saying there was an agreement between yourself and who?
I did resign,
yes.
And the person who appointed me was the former president.
So you and the former president.
Please don't put words
I just want to.
I'm a lawyer. I think I know what I said. Yes.
No, I just want to understand a few things. That's all. I want to clear all the doubts in my mind. I see. So, but of course, all that was premised on the basis of the things that had happened when you were Attorney General. I'm not really going to go into that because you have insisted you don't really want to speak about that. But the issue about how a lot of people bastardize you and criticize you, and some are even calling for your head. Some are saying, jail head, jail head. I mean, you sit back and you see all you think you have done or given to the country. When you hear such calls, how does that come to you?
I think it's one of the hazards of politics. It's one of the hazards of putting yourself out there. And it's one of the hazards, unfortunately, of being a woman at the very top. Sometimes you can't see that they are sharpening the knives for you. Sometimes also we were wrong in some of our actions. Erroneously wrong, not criminally wrong or fraudulently wrong, but erroneously wrong. We are humans, we make mistakes.
Is it possible you are misled?
Misled? Oh, no, I don't think so. I think I'm competent enough to know and to take responsibility.
No, given the context, perhaps...
To take responsibility for my own actions within a certain context. I don't have a problem with that.
Would you have done things differently now, knowing what you know now?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I've never... It's always difficult to look back in history and say, wow, if I had known that this person was going to say this about me, I would not have done this, that, or the other. I don't think anyone can say that. It's only the good Lord who can judge our actions. That at a certain point in time, we acted professionally. We acted in accordance with the law. We acted competently. There was never a day, never one day of doubt in my mind that I was not doing the right.
Do you meet Woyome at all? Do you see him sometimes?
Occasionally,
Okay. You sit and talk like we are doing now?
Oh, occasionally. Very occasionally, yes.
Does the issue come up ever?
Well, I would think so. What do you think?
And what happens in such instances?
Well, I wasn't Attorney General when he was paid, and when he was paid the bulk of the money. And for me, it wasn't about money, difficult though it may seem in people's eyes. It was about the principle of doing the right thing. And I'm always glad. I always tell people that there is a God, and he's a just God. Especially if when you're a lawyer, you can be cleared through the court system. I was not on trial. I was never put on trial. I don't think that my actions were triable. But in the end, when the Court of Appeal, 3 appeal court judges gave a verdict on whether this money or this money was procured fraudulently, and my role in the matter came up, they all insisted. Betty Mould-Iddrisu, as Attorney General, acted professionally, she acted competently, she followed due diligence, and that was it. She exercised her official actions. As a lawyer and as an Attorney General, that is what you need. That is the kind of validation that, quite frankly, some of your media folks were making me even doubt myself. When you do the right thing, you shouldn't doubt yourself. And I've managed to keep my sanity in the most difficult periods by knowing that at least I have done the right thing, or tried to.
Yeah. Okay. So I look at how this may have tainted your reputation to an extent, maybe not so much, but of course to an extent, because some people hear just the rumors. They don't even dig deep to find out whether or not they are true. Whatever it is they hear is what they swallow. And how that may likely affect you in particular, whether the businesses you're running, whether it's about dealing with international organizations, whether it's about even politics.
Well, I have no life now. I had started doing my own consultancy. The retainers were taken away when the first of the many cases came out. Professionally, I had been leader of the bar, then you are reduced to people carrying out daily, Facebook pages saying why one should be jailed in these circumstances. And it's been a difficult time, but in all of that, I've had extreme loyalty from my own party, from the branches and the grassroots, who knew that I worked for them in diverse ways. And really, that has carried me through. I remember when I resigned, I'm telling you, for 300 days, I had visits from every different district and branch in Ghana.
Oh, really?
Coming to me. You'll be shocked.
Whoa.
I couldn't believe it. They came from all over, all over. And it's really engineered a lot of hope and confidence in me that I shouldn't doubt myself. I should be able to go on. Obviously, your friends and brothers and sisters in the media never helped. They believed everything that was put out there. And they actually, most of them, I think, carried out an agenda. So
you think it was an agenda against you? Just
no. It's a saga of the times. It's not against me personally.
But how then do you blame the media when they are reporting information that is being churned out?
Well, I can blame the media very easily, because why don't you get my side of it? Do you understand?
I get that.
Why don't you get my side of it before coming out with patently false, untrue, fabricated stories? I was telling you before the interview that I had to take some people to court. And, I was in the end persuaded to step it down.
I understand that. Okay. Well, so, of course, you believe it's time now to repay the trust that was reposed in you by the grassroots, the branches?
I've been repaying it since 2014. I've been there as vice one of the 5.
You want to take it up a notch higher?
one of the 5 vice chair and doing so much work for the party, working with Kofi Potofi, who is our chairman now the leader of the party.
Who you want to contest?
Oh, not necessarily. He's a fantastic person. I appreciate him, and I will see how it goes. I told you, it's not the end of the line yet.
Of course, it's just the beginning, actually. Okay, so I'll take a look at this now. What would be your strategy to kick out the NPP if you decide to, of course, contest? And if indeed the
party... It's to build up our party.
Okay.
And the party had a problem at the branch level, and without there are almost 30,000 branches. And that is a lot of branches.
That's a lot.
Yes. In the Ashanti region alone, we have about 5,000 branches with 47 constituencies. It's a challenge, you know, all over the country, nationally. But we need to view ourselves as one. We need to be solid on the ground. We lost that. We lost it for a variety of reasons, whether it was due to incumbency, whether it was due to leadership, whether it was due to the party itself maybe taking the wrong direction. It happens. I said before, we are all human, and we are driven by maybe different elements. And we lost our way. We've gone back to the branches. We've rebuilt them. We are re-energizing them, trying to find leadership. And it's been fantastic. It's been a fantastic experience. I've monitored elections in maybe about 100 constituencies so far, yes, since the branch and the constituencies. And the enthusiasm of the young people, wow, to be part of NDC is phenomenal. There are still problems with some of the leadership, and there are still problems with the fragility of some of the branches and some of the constituencies. And we are addressing all of those at certain levels. But I'll tell you that the party is very strong, very committed, and we know we are coming back to power in 2020.
Let me ask this. Are you on good terms with the founder of the party and indeed the former first founder?
I have a lot of respect for the founder of the party and the former First Lady. I have a lot of respect for them. They brought me to the forefront, and the former First Lady propelled me. She believed in my vision and in my competency at that time. And
what changed?
Oh, politics. It happens. It happens.
Was it the money? Was it the loyalty?
Money. Where's money coming into this?
I don't know. Perhaps.
It's not a question of money, please. I don't deal in those types of...
Some say...
It's about politics. What do they say about politics? That you only have permanent interests. You don't have permanent friends. It's such a pity.
So you think former President Rawlings and his wife are just seeking their interests and not...
Oh, no, of course not. I wouldn't say that, because they've spent almost all of their adult life serving Ghana. And so they have their own... they have dedicated their lives to that. Maybe at this particular today, our paths don't converge. But maybe next year they might be, directly, we might be on the same tracks even. So you never know.
But you used to speak to them a lot. And so all of a sudden one day you both stopped speaking?
I don't think you know too much about politics. If you know, you wouldn't be asking those questions at all.
I do know a bit about politics. Well, maybe not as much as you do. And of course you have a lot more experience.
And deep-seated relationships. It happens. It can happen. Politics, it can try.
What was the trigger?
I don't know.
But it's not from your end, it's from their end.
How can it be from my end? They
are the ones not...
Please, they are people I respect. I revere both the founder and his wife. I would never say or do anything against them knowingly. Please.
Is it possible you may have done something unknowingly?
Possibly.
Have you tried going to them to, address the situation?
Well, I think those were in those days.
You tried? And it didn't go down well.
I'm not going to give the details of whatever it was, that went down, because I don't want to I say, you say. I don't want that at all.
In October of 2015, there's a Star FM online story that...
Was Star FM in existence
in
October
2015?
2015?
So in October 2015, there's a story about you suggesting that sometimes you feel embarrassed that you are a Khan or so. Actually, I have the quote here. Sometimes when I listen to the radio and I hear the things that are said on the radio, I feel pained. I feel pained that I am Ashanti.
Oh, you put it in the, as usual, totally mischievous context. Why would I come out with such a phrase? But
is that your quote?
Well, I don't remember, and I would never say it on its own. I think it's very mischievous for you to descend into tribalism and ethnicity, because I am not that way. My father was a Ga. I'm from British Accra. My mother was an Ashanti from Mould-Iddrisu.
Okay.
Mould-Iddrisu, Kwabre South.
Yeah.
The same constituency that Nana Konadu Ajiman Rawlings, Mami Ekuadonko. We had the first woman MP for Kwabre, Juliet Techua. Do you understand me?
I do.
We are a constituency of strong Akan women, grounded in the politics. And my husband is from the Upper West.
Oh.
I'm grounded also in the politics of the North. My children are Wala. Do you understand me?
I do.
So for anyone to take something, I might have been, I remember they spoke about it. I was in Kumasi, incidentally, I think when I heard it. I don't think it was Star FM, but I heard it, and then the Ashanti youth made a comment. So I took up I was in the car, I remember hearing something like this, and I took the phone and spoke to them or to the radio station and said, look, I don't remember the context, but it must have been something or the other. And please, I've explained the type of person I am. I come from many places in Ghana. And
you have your roots everywhere.
I don't ascribe to ethnicity or tribal politics at all.
I see. But Betty Mould, we would leave you here for now. Hopefully, when you do make up your mind to contest or do otherwise, we will be around.
21 minutes.
21 minutes with KKB.
KKB. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being our guest today. And Betty Mould-Iddrisu has been our guest on 21 Minutes with KKB. She says, I don't know much about politics.
If you did, you wouldn't ask some of the things you did.
Interesting. Well, but that has been another edition of 21 Minutes with KKB. I'll see you soon, hopefully, with another guest you are expecting.